All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday. I know it's actually not Wednesday. It's Thursday, day, the sixth day of November, 2025. I've been out for a couple of days, so I didn't get a lot. Well, I did get a lot of work done, but I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done coming into this week's meeting. And last week I introduced the diamond pattern that was developed here in the BREV scale thing that I created, and it's really good, but it trades a ton, like too much. So I was trying to narrow it down, break it down into fewer trades, and I did, but I didn't like the way it was coming out. So I made some changes to it, and um, you got a short scalp on the bar before the swing trade alert bar. Okay, let me get to that in a minute. I did make changes to it, and I'm gonna make it so it's even better than it was. Every time I create something, it seems like I find other things inadvertently find other things that are really good. Like I originally created this. Let me just show you. Okay, if I get rid of that and I get rid of that, there. I created this thing right here. Right, this is what I did when I had to go away for a funeral here the last few days, and I've been up in Connecticut. And while I was sitting there in my hotel room, I created this. And what this is it's kind of what I was doing, what I was showing you last week, except there's not a whole bunch of lines on it. Okay, there's not a whole bunch of lines. It just lets you know it gets in here like this, and usually it's going to turn blue before it gives you the up, or it's going to turn red before it gives you the down. That was the idea, anyway. I don't see it doing it anywhere. I might have turned that off by accident. Let me see. If I turn that on, does it help it any? Anyway, that was the idea. Is that I would be able to tell you a bar ahead of time, and then when it goes down, you're going to sell, and when it goes up, you're going to buy. That was the idea that I was going on. Because typically, I just count on you guys figuring out that when you're in the oversold, that's when you want to, you're in a buying area. When it gets down like that, it's sold everything off and it's time to start buying. When you're in the overbought, it's in a selling area. That means you're up here and everything should be bought out and it should be selling now. But that's not terribly intuitive to some people. And so to make it more intuitive, I said, okay, well, we'll make it go up in blue when you should be buying and down in red when you should be selling. All right, that was my idea, my big idea. And I don't know if that's going to mess people up more than it is help them, because most of you guys understand when it's in the overbought, you want to sell, when it's in the oversold, you want to buy. But what I did find out in my exercise of doing that was something else pretty cool. And I'll show you that. Now, this goes back to kind of what we were doing last week when we were looking for the diamond, right? We're looking for this divergence, we're looking for the diamond. And you can see whenever you get that diamond like that, and I know last week, Kurt was on me last week. Yes, Scott, everybody else's sound is okay. Let me just say yes. Now, last week, what I had shown you last week looked like this. That. And that. And this is what I was going over last week. And Kurt had suggested that I slow down because I was just running through it all, and I was showing you when it's divergent like this and it's divergent like that, and how all those work out great, and they do. But there are instances that you don't see as well in there, where it would hit something like this right here. All right. Now, if you're just looking at it like, let me see if I got one of these open. Hang on. I'm just opening a fresh one of these. Notepad. Here it is. If you're just looking at it like this, we'll say, which one was I looking at? This right here, right? And that's the only thing you see. You have the separation, and you want to sell. When you have this exact separation, you want to sell, right? You can put the red arrow on there. So you want to sell. But what you don't see right after that is that it dragged out a little bit on the top. And that means it didn't go down, more than likely. It didn't. It went straight up. Okay. So I didn't really mean to, but I did breeze over those situations last week, and I didn't really mean to. But so what I'm creating is something that's going to be going to be better. It's still going to give you the same information, but it's going to give you fewer trades. And, well, let me just give you an example. Okay, let me put this thing on. I called it Total Arrow because I wasn't really sure what to call it at this point. And now what I'm looking for is, and this is something that just occurred to me when I was on a plane 2 days ago. When it breaks away like this, it doesn't have the red or anything like that. It's got everything in the middle, and this breaks away like that. That almost always turns into a nice trade. All right. And if you have a blue background, you don't have to use the TV trades with it, but it will filter out a bunch of the trades. Right? I mean, you don't have to use the background color with it, but it will filter out a bunch of the trades for you. And it works great, right? So, the way that I can usually figure out if things are going to work is once I automate it, because I might run through this with my eyes, and I'm human after all, and I see things and I don't see things and I miss things like this right here. You'd be buying the open of that bar. The way that this looks right now, you'd be buying the open of that bar. When you don't see any red, it's just blue pulling away, you'd be buying the open of this bar. That's exactly the trade that you would do. Now that's a pretty simple trade to do, right? Right? Everybody? Yes? Everybody? Yes, yes. Yes, sensei. Anyway, that's a pretty simple trade to do, right? It's easy to see. There's no ambiguity. There's not like, okay, well, there's a little bit of red on that, or it was almost in the overbought or almost in the oversold. What I did with this is I made it only have 3 positions. All right, it can only be in the top, in the bottom, or in the middle. And that's what I want to do. I want to remove the ambiguity for you guys, because the easier it is for me to read, the easier it's going to be for you to read. And so, the diamond stuff that we did last week, that's still here. It's like right there would be the diamond, right? You see, we've got the arrow on it that says to buy it there, and buy it there. Not buy that one, but buy the one right after it. And the red ones, sell right after it. And sell right after it. Yeah, that one too. That one, that one, that one. Of course, if you do it with a red background, the results tend to be a little bit better. When you're going with the trend, you can usually look for a little bit bigger runs with it. Okay, let me see who's in here. I haven't checked to see who's in here today. I haven't started the other thing either. Is anybody in here who's never been in here before? Is there anybody here who's never seen any of this stuff before? Because I will slow down. I'll go over things a little bit slower. Hey, Jim P. Alright, it looks like everybody that's in here has been in here in the past, so that's good. We got a nice group in here, and I want to encourage you all to ask questions if you have any questions. Okay? Alright, Kevin. Okay, Kevin. Well, last week, what I introduced last week was basically this, and I was saying, whenever you have this kind of divergence, let's get rid of the TV trades up here. Whenever you have this kind of separation right here, the blue's up on the top, the red's on the bottom, you sell the open of the next bar. Okay? Sell the open of the next bar, sell the open of the next bar. And it was going the other way around. It's going the other way around. There aren't too many of those today for some reason. Not right in here anyway. Sell. There you go. Buy the open of the next bar. On this one, you buy the open of the next bar. Look, all the blue ones right there. They should be buy the open of the next bar. All those blue ones. Alright? And now, Kevin, I don't know if you've seen the swing trade, right? You've seen that, right? Where with the swing trade, if you take this apart and you get rid of that, the swing trade actual, and you just have the gray on there. Let me get rid of this too for a minute. And you just have the gray arrows on there. Every gray arrow, this gray arrow right here is suggesting that if we get an up close on this bar right here, it's going to be a long trade. That's what that is suggesting. Alright, if you get a gray arrow that's pointing up and the next bar closes up, that's probably going to be where you want to buy. Alright, now this is a 19 range ES, so it's going to be 5 points off the bottom of the bar. Alright, 69 up to 74 is what you'd have your buy stop limit set at right here. Be like this, just like that. Okay, so if we get an up close on that, which we just did, it'll trigger me in like it just did. And I'd shut off the actual arrow, but there's the black arrow. Now this is a swing trade arrow, and what that suggests is you're going to have a little bit more of a run. It's going to be closer to the beginning, or the beginning of the trend. All right, and it should have a little bit more of a run. It should get up here to the prior swing high. It should get all the way up here to 785 is what it should do. Right, 785 would be 11 points. 11 points. 44 ticks on the ES is what it would be. Okay. Now, this is on a 19 range, so it's got to go 10 ticks into profit before it bumps the stop for me. So it hasn't gone 10 yet. All right, but it's got a 25 tick stop, and it's got to go 10 ticks into profit before it bumps it to break even for me. So it hasn't done that yet, but we'll be looking forward to that. 10 ticks is only 2.5 points. And we're looking to get 11 points out of this. Right. The fastest way to enter the open of the next bar would be a market order, correct? Well, actually, if you have, like I just showed you right there, if you have a buy stop limit placed one tick above where the bar is going to close, like I just did, that will get you in where you want to be in. If you do a market order, you can wait and do a market order, or Shahab, don't necessarily do a market order, but set it up so all your orders are limit orders, but click here in the green, and that'll enter you at the best bid in this case. Right? It'll enter you at the best bid right here, but it'll be a limit order. Okay? And Christina, okay, she said the garage door is down. Okay, so we're just about up here. I think it just bumped the stop. Yeah, it did. Just bumped the stop to break even. All right, so I'm just going to lock in a little bit on this. I'll lock in 2 ticks. That's $250 with 10 contracts on. Okay, now we're looking for get all the way up here. All the way up here to 67.84 and a half. And it just gave me those 2 ticks. So I'm out with 2 little ticks on this, but that is 2 ticks. Let me just make that green. And now I got that over here in this thing for today. We'll keep track of the ES trades. There's 2. Oops. Copy that down to here. There you go. $250. That's our start so far today. Last time we had 13,000. Killed it last time. Yes, been trying to get some good trades, but then you get to stop out and seem to lose everything you gain. Not sure what you're doing wrong. Okay, that's not that unusual. All right, well let's just remove it from you, particularly Kevin, and we'll talk about kind of money management. You know, do you have a goal that you try to get every day? And if you get that goal, do you stop when you get that goal? And if you only get that goal, and then you have a max loss day, and your max loss day is, we'll say, 3 times what that goal is. So you can see larger bars. Like that, you mean, Sid? So that your max loss is like 3 days worth of your goal, and then you have 2 of those max loss days in a row. So now you got like a full week's worth of goal knocked out. That sound familiar to anybody? Everybody? Well, that's the problem with having. That's the problem with having, a specific goal that you stop. If you don't get it every single day, if you don't get your goal every single day, or you don't get your goal 10 out of 11 days, then you have to have another money management scheme or strategy. Okay, because if you're not consistently profitable, I mean really, really consistently profitable, like I am. Like my last actual red day was 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now. 600 days. Today is 600 days since my last 600 trading days for me. I don't know how many days that actually is, but in 2023, I think. But if you're not consistently getting your goal every single day, then that strategy is not really going to work out that well for you in the beginning. If you're consistently getting your goal every single day, like in here, like every green day I got my goal, right? Even the blue days, I got my goal, but I gave it back. If you see a yellow day, that means I didn't get my goal, right? I think yellow days mean I didn't get my goal. We ended positive, but I did not get my goal. Yeah, I didn't get my goal. So I haven't had a yellow day in a really long time. And I haven't had a red day since, I don't know when. It was May 9th of some year. A couple years ago. But that's because I'm doing the same thing. My goal is really easy for me to achieve. And so I'm able to get my goal every single day. Pretty much. It's just a matter of how long it takes. I mean, today it took me a while, but I was kind of rusty after being away for a few days. And my first trade slipped me like 15 ticks. But took 36 minutes and 8 trades this morning to get to my goal. But good way. But if you're having issues, as I just explained, if you're having those sorts of issues, this up close right here will probably be another black arrow. It is another black arrow on the yes. If you're having those sorts of issues, then what I would suggest is doing a little bit differently. You have a little twist on it. You still have your max loss per day, but you can give yourself a certain number of trades per day that you do, or a certain amount of time per day that you trade. Now, you guys have seen that in here, in the morning session, anybody that's been following me for a long time, most of you guys have, I do the first 2 hours, but I make my goal for the day usually in the first 15 minutes. And and then when I do this, in this session, the last 15 minutes, from 3:45 to 4 o'clock is usually where the majority of the trades happen. Okay, so you could find a time of the day where the markets are most active, the markets that you want to trade, and you got to figure out which markets you trade best, because each market has its own personality, and you should be able to just trade whatever we're doing on any market, but you know which ones you like best, and which ones move at your speed, things like that. But you can just set a time limit for yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to trade for 30 minutes. I'm going to trade from 3 to 4 every single day, or 3:30 to 4 every single day. And at the end of that time period, however many trades it is however many trades it is. However much money it is however much money it is. Because the mindset that you can get into with the goal for the day thing, and then if you do exactly like I said, if you have like a max loss of $300, we'll say, and your goal for the day is 100. So every time you get your max loss, you're down 3 days worth of goal. And then if you have 2 of those days in a row, or say 3 of those days in a row, that's almost 2 weeks worth of getting your goal right there. And some people have a hard time getting their goal for the day for 2 weeks. So it's, you're chasing your tail. And it's psychologically difficult. Now, for me, because I do get my goal every single day, just about, using the goal strategy works, and it will work if you can be consistently profitable. It will work for you too. But if you're struggling and you're not getting that, and this is all going back to what Kevin asked earlier, if you're struggling, you're not getting your goal for the day, then consider doing a time limit where you're going to trade as long as you're doing everything right. As long as you're not making mistakes. You get in here, you're doing everything right, and you do it right for half an hour every day, in whatever time it is, for whatever market it is that you like to trade. Then do that and see how your results are after a month. I would suggest doing that. If you're getting your goal for the day and then stop when you get the goal thing, that's a great strategy if you consistently get your goal every day. If you don't consistently get your goal every day and you're more consistently getting your max loss, then that's not going to work out for you at all. And if you're getting your max loss frequently, well, then maybe we should talk about that anyway and see what you're doing, because that shouldn't be the case either. All right. So the next question was, what is a reasonable goal for one contract? Well, I talked about this in the last session. I think I talked about this in the last session, but when I created the goal that I actually go for, this one in here, well, not this one, yeah, this one, the goal that I go for in here, the $100 per contract, that was 2 points on the ES, and that was from 2008. I think when I created that goal, and back then the daily range of the ES might have been 10 points. It was usually closer to 6 points, the daily range. And the daily range right now is about 70 points, or something like that. It's some absurd amount. But I know I did the monthly range from back then, from 2010 to the monthly range right now. And the monthly range right now is 4 times what it was back then. It was 89 back then, was the monthly range. And now the monthly range is just under 400. It's like 398 or something like that. The average true range of a month on the ES. So the goal that I set way back then, which was achievable, it was 2 points on the ES. That was a simple thing to do, right? And usually there was enough opportunity. Back then we were only trading the ES in the very beginning. But usually there was enough opportunity to get those 2 points on the ES and then call it a day. And if you could do that every day, well then, that's what this whole thing over here is, right? This plan. If you would add one contract, if you would get 2 points a day and add one contract for every $2,000 that you make, it should be once every 20 days roughly, or once a month. Add one contract a month and then quit trading. So far this year, this was last month, but this year you'd be 27 hours. So far you would have had to trade all year. You'd be at $180,000. You'd be on your 11th contract right now. Averaging $6,665. That's if you did everything just like I did in the morning session so far this year. So it is something that you can do, and I did do it from 2023 up to August of last year. I did do all this. I'm putting this over here. Sorry. I don't think my stop went to break even yet, did it? I guess it just did. I did do all this. In 2023, I started with one contract, and I went up to 20 contracts at the end of August 2024. And I'm just going to lock in 1 point on this. And that got me to $7,000 an hour, I think it was. I think that's what it came up to, right? It's in here. $7,521 an hour is what it ended up being. Following the 2420 blueprint all the way through from one contract to from one contract to 20 contracts. So a goal that you can get every day is something that you have to set. Now I know some of you guys have set goals way bigger than my goal. Way bigger than my goal, and that's okay. I mean, really, you guys should all be doing better than me anyway. Honestly, you should all be doing better than me because you don't have the same distractions I do. You can focus and you can take the trades that are the right trades. Like today, the first thing I did today was screw up 2 trades right in a row. That was the very first thing I did. And we're up 4 points on this right now. And I stopped out. I stopped out on one and I got like 1 tick back on the next one. 5 points now. What did I say this should get up to a minute ago? This number up here, 784 and a half. 784 and a half. 784 and a half. Where is that? That's all the way up there. Hey, look at that. It's right there. It's 30 ticks if it gets all the way up there. I think it's 30 or maybe it's 45. 45. Yeah, that's what it is. It's 45. Okay, there's 6 points. 7 points. That's 28 ticks on the ES with 10 contracts on. And we're out. 28 ticks on the ES with 10 contracts on. That was a swing trade right here. Put that in over here, not there. Here. On this one. It's 28 more. So I just said 30. Bam. 37.50. What are we averaging now? 26 has becomes 27. 4,300 roughly. Okay, that was a good start. I mean, most of the trades come in the last 15 minutes, anyway, in this session. Now, there were a couple of questions that just came in that I didn't answer yet. One was, is it foolish to try getting the goal and trying to recover losses using just the ES? Foolish? No, it's going to be more difficult, but if you're getting the, I mean, look, Daryl, let me show you. The majority of the results that I've gotten in here are on the ES. Alright, so for on the ES I have 327 ticks. And I'm sure the NQ has more, but the NQ, you know, they come in big bunches on the NQ. They come 45 at a time on the NQ, and usually come 4 at a time over here. But 327 is dollar amount. I think that's more than the NQ at 950. You know, 950 times 5 is like 5 grand, and 327 times 12. I don't know. Let me find my calculator. I don't have that out right now. My computer rebooted while I was away, so stuff that I normally have running is not running. 327 times 12.5 equals 4,087, and 5 times 950. Well, I guess the NQ still got the most of them, but I'm doing a lot of trading on the ES in here. Okay, I am using a larger time frame though, Daryl, but I'm doing it in here. You know, I normally use the 7 range in the morning session, but in here I've been doing a 19 range because I'm doing a lot of talking and because we have a little more time. So foolish is you know, again, when you say recover losses, you know, I occasionally will say that too, like I want to get that back. Like I just stopped out on that and I want to get that back. Like this morning I stopped out on the ES. I got up to 20 ticks. Then I stopped out twice in a row and I got back down to 0. And I'm pretty sure at one point I said I want to get that back. That's not really a thing. You know, it's fine to have the desire to get back to where you were before, but you have no control over that. You know, if the market gives the opportunity, then you have some opportunity. But if the market doesn't, well, then you know you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot trying to create opportunity that's not there. And you know, you don't want to get into that. So, I mean, Daryl, I kind of know, you know, your situation. You're not in a rush to, you know, to make the money back. But you know, you can't go at it with the attitude like, I'm going to get that back. I'm definitely going to get that back on the next trade. I'm going to get that back. You know, like a lot of times in the morning, like today when I started out and I was down 42 ticks on my very first NQ trade, which I should have been down 25, but I was down 42. So I guess it was 17 ticks of slip I got on that. I think the words that I said this morning was, I'm not worried about it. I'll get that back. Well, it wasn't that I'd get it back on the NQ. No, it was that I'd get positive and get my goal for the day. Is basically what I meant when I said that. Yes, revenge trading. That's no good. No good. And John says, when I see the black arrow that is green and the next bar does not stay above the green arrow, and that is a no trade. Just not sure when is a good trade and a no trade. The black arrow. Let's go back here. Okay, this black arrow here you mean, right? Jeff, 300 is what seemed to be the most popular thing. 3 stop outs. Well, 3 stop outs, whatever it happens to be for people, but it's around $300 usually per contract. Okay, John. Let me per contract, yeah. Green arrow. When there was a red arrow, then there was a red arrow. Are you talking about this stuff right here, or are you talking about one of these other ones in here? Now these green arrows I'm drawing. Those are my green arrows. But the black arrows come automatically. Okay, on the ES. And if I blow that back up, you have gray arrows and black arrows, and these green arrows I'm drawing. Green arrows just mean trades that I made some profit on. It's like the first trade I made 2 ticks, and the second trade I made 28 ticks. Okay, a black arrow and a red bar. Okay, I see what you mean. If you're not going to get a black arrow pointing up on a red bar, you're going to get a black arrow pointing up on a green bar, and you get a black arrow pointing down on a red bar. That's part of the requirement, is that it's got to be pointing in the right direction. Okay. What to look for in a spread. Yes, here's a spread right here on gold. See how there's two spots right there between them? You're going to lose that money whenever you place a trade. As soon as you place a trade, you're going to lose that money right there. That's what I mean, Joe. Okay. So if you have a 4-tick stop and you got a 2-tick spread, you're losing half of your risk as soon as you enter the trade. There's a little bit of one here on the NQ now too. See, there's a little bit of one there. Now usually the ES doesn't usually have one because ES is really liquid. And when I say liquid, I mean all of these numbers right here are double, triple digits most of the time. Whereas on the NQ, see, when it's moving around quickly, these numbers just go away. They disappear and you have gaps in them and stuff. That's what I mean. When you get something like that, you're going to have slippage. And that one that I had this morning, it was on the NQ and I had 17 ticks of slip. Can you believe that? That doesn't happen very often, but it did happen this morning. And it was my very first trade. That was discouraging. It was my first trade coming back after being at a funeral for 3 days. My very first trade, 17 ticks of slip. Like, oh man. And I screwed it up. It wasn't even a valid trade. It was a mistake. The TV trades, yeah, it's shared. Here, I'll give you the link to it. This one. And you guys that want the link to this, what am I doing here? I'm trying to do share. I clicked on the wrong thing. Here, share. There it is. Copy link. And you guys that want the link to this, I will put it in here for you. Paul just asked, so I will stick it right there. I think that'll give you a read-only copy, but you can make a copy of it if you want to adjust it for your own trading. Bob Z, you're just here. Okay, just saying you're here. Okay. So let me go back to John. Said I have a black arrow and the next bar is red. Is that a no trade? If you have a black arrow, the next bar is red. No, it's still a trade, because you don't know whether it's going to be red or green when you enter the trade. No, you don't know. As a matter of fact, looking at all these, it looks like here, this is one that you had a black arrow and the next bar was green. But every other one, the black arrow was the wrong color. I mean, the next arrow, not that one was okay. But almost every other one, the next arrow was the wrong color before it actually went on and did what it should have done. So what I suggest anyway, John, is you don't have to have your order waiting like I did in those couple of trades that we took, where I had my order waiting. You don't have to have your order waiting. You can wait because usually it's going to give you a pullback and you get a better entry. So let it close. If you're watching the charts, let it close, and then look for a better entry. Look for an entry a quarter of the way down the bar that you entered on, something like that. Okay, that way you don't get nailed with the slippage like I had today, and like Joe has been having the last couple of days with the trades that he was taking. Okay. When do I feel it's a good trade or a bad trade? Well, it's a bad trade when it stops me out. All trades I feel are good trades until they stop me out. Honestly, that's pretty much how I feel. There's things that I look at in the market that that you should notice. Over time you'll see it and you'll notice it, but in the bigger picture, like right here in the bigger picture of this is a 50% retracement of this leg up right here. So any long trade right off of this area right here should work out pretty well. Okay, now you might not see that. It might not just jump right out at you, but if I crunch it up like this, and if I actually just shut the swing trade off and we crunch it up like this, you can see the market got a little sideways over here. It was going down. We had nice leg lengths in here going down, and then it got sideways after that big leg length there. It got sideways. Then it continued down a little bit. Then it changed direction right here. Now, what I was looking at was this is a 50% retracement of this leg right here, right? But if we crunch this up some more, I'm not sure, but I think if we crunch this up some more, we're going to see that this leg right here is a 50% retracement of a bigger leg down, is what I'm thinking. And there it is. Okay? So here's the leg down, and this is a 50% retracement of that bigger leg down. So right now, overall, it looks like the markets probably want to go down. This looks like it's a little bit more than a 50%. If you go like this, put this on here. There we go. Yeah, see, so this is the 50% mark right here. So it was a little bit more. And this is actually acting as support right now instead of resistance. So it did find resistance there, and now it's acting as support. It could push up by the end of the day. What time is it? 3:09? We could have a run up to this area right up here by the end of this session. Now, I'm looking forward to trading at the end of the session because that's usually when most of the trades come in and there's a lot more activity. Like right now, this part of it, the first 45 minutes to an hour of this session, I like to cover everything that I want to cover with you guys and show you all the new stuff that I've created or any modifications that I've made or anything like that. Now, so far we've just taken a couple of swing trades. Okay, we haven't taken any of the other types of trades. For those of you guys who are new, created the scalp tool. Now, Hal, this is one of the things that you were asking about with the scalp tool. Let me get rid of the swing trade and I'll just go over the scalp tool really quick with you. Okay. So, before I do that, let me do this. Remember I did this right here, right? And with this one, we're looking for the fade. Remember, that's how I started the scalp tool. Now, remember the scalp tool is in beta. Okay, you remember that it's in beta, so I'm going to be making changes to it. Like all the new stuff that I'm doing right now. No, Kevin. I'll answer that for everybody in just a minute, okay? But no is the quick answer. Okay, so this is what I showed you when I originally started the scalp trade. Now we were looking for the fade right here. We're looking for the fade on an up close, or the fade on the bottom on a down close, because what that was showing, the fade was showing weakness. While you're still getting the up close, the fade was showing you had weakness. Alright, when you get that fade showing weakness on an up close, then it's typically what happens is it follows in the other direction shortly after. Okay, that's what we were looking for. And I left that in there because I know some of you guys were doing really well with that idea, that notion, and you probably built things around it. So I left it in there. Yes, Jeff. So I left it in there. Okay, and hang on. Yeah, so I left it in there so you guys could still have it, but it was kind of ambiguous, right? Because I could say that this is a fade when it's really not. Actually, the one before it was a little more steep than this one. This one actually faded the other way. But something like this is a fade, and this is a fade, and this faded just a tiny bit right there. But this is an obvious fade, and that's an obvious fade. But that's clearly not. But there was some ambiguity in there, and I wanted to remove the ambiguity for you. So, Hal, that's where the black line comes in, because that's what you were asking me last week. And so I didn't get rid of this. I left it in there for anybody that wanted to use it. But what I did is when you had the fade, instead of you trying to discern or determine whether there was a fade there or not, I made the black line turn in favor of the trade. Alright, so instead of having the fade, you actually have the black line turning down. So the black line's turning down and that's going up. That's where you're going to have your trade. Alright, when the black line's going down and you get an up close, that's where you're going to get your trade. Now by default, I didn't turn these things on. I don't know why I didn't turn them on, but by default I didn't turn them on. So you can do lines or you can do arrows if you want to, whichever you want to do. But you see right here, when you had the up close with the down movement, you have a down. I mean, you have a down arrow or a red line to sell it. Okay. Another question was, would the swing trade work better if you have the red and blue background and take the trades based on that? No is the answer to that. Let me just show you. All right, if we put that on, let's get rid of this for a minute. Usually these are going to happen at the end of a trend, so they're going to be going opposite the background color. The background color is the trend color, and these are usually going to happen the opposite of the trend color. As a matter of fact, you could almost do that. You could almost say, okay, I want the background to be blue when I get a down arrow, and I want the background to be red when I get an up arrow. That actually makes more sense, Kevin. Because this is longer term. This is shorter term, and this is longer term. And we're trying to find the end of the trend in here. This is showing that you're in a trend, and this is showing that you're at the end of it. So it should be opposite. Okay, the question was, would the swing trade work better if you had the red and blue background and just take trades based on the direction of the background? No, the swing trade doesn't. The scalp trade does, but the swing trade doesn't. Okay, And Jeff, you wanted me to show you the scalp tool? This guy down here? Do you not have it in your invite only? If you would invite only, you should have it down here. TV Trade Scalp Tool Beta. Okay. Alright. And again, inside the scalp tool, you're going to see at the top, well, first you got to turn on the lines and the arrows if you want to. They're off by default. I'm going to turn one of those on by default, just so you have something. But some of you guys wanted, actually some of you guys wanted the lines, some of you guys wanted the arrows, and one of you guys wanted a bar color too. So I did the bar color too. Cliff, was that you that asked for the bar color? I'm doing my best to make everybody happy. Alright, yeah, you just gotta put the star on it. If you don't have it in your favorites, just put the star on it like that, and it'll pop in your favorites. Okay. Alright. That's good. I can blame it on you then. Alright, so let's drop this off for a minute, and this off for a minute, and this off for a minute. Then we'll talk about this. Alright, now last week when I introduced it to you, what I was doing, I was breezing through it really quickly, and I was showing you whenever you have this kind of divergence here, this kind of divergence here, this kind of divergence here, that you just trade in the opposite direction of the blue. You know, if the blue is down, you go long. If the blue is up, you go short. That's what I was showing you, and it works great. It does, but it trades a ton. And there are things in here that you didn't see. You know, when the blue is down, there are times where the blue goes down and you don't see that it drags on. It's usually the blue right here. You don't see that the blue dragged on right here. Right? It still gave you a pretty good trade right there, enough to get your stop to break even. But well, it's not exactly the same as this, where it immediately goes in favor. You know, like right here, this is saying to short right now. It's saying to short the ES right here. Right there. At down close, you short from the top of the bar. Right there. That's a pretty simple process, right? That's the idea. I actually I accidentally shorted the NQ instead of the ES. The NQ stop went to break even, plus a tick, and it just took me out with one tick. The ES is actually got a trade right here. From 75.75 is where the ES trade is from. Okay. Alright. So what I wanted to do with this was get rid of, well, I didn't want to overtrade you. I didn't want you to get in there and place 1,000 trades and say, you know what, at the end of the day I have an $800 commission and I made $6. I don't want you to do that. Is it available to you? Yeah, Mark. If you use Sierra charts, then yeah. I mean, if you have other stuff, whatever you use, what charting platform do you use, Mark? I mean, what do you trade on? You know, this is Sierra Dom. I don't mean Sierra charts, I mean Sierra Doms. Okay, Ninja, yeah, that's available on Ninja. Can you get it now? Not yet. Not yet. I'm still working on it, and I've been working on it. I worked on it, you know, pretty much every day that I was gone this week, and it's not done yet. It's not even close to done. You know, the thing that I started working on was this, to make it easier for you to see. And you know, like the arrows, I mean the diamonds, you know, those jump right out at you, don't they? And then whenever I do something like this, I almost always find something else that I have to figure out and see if it's better than what I was just trying to do. And in this case, it was when it pulls away from all of it. And then there was another thing that I figured out last night. I'll show you. There was another thing that I figured out last night that I was working on with this guy right here. And I don't think I did it on this computer, but if I make that a 6. So now, if you get rid of all the other stuff, this is what happens to me. I just go down these rabbit holes, and now I'm just looking at the divergences in between here and here. See, they almost always work out well too. Almost every time. And all these things that I've created in here, this one, that one, and that one, all these things actually, the values that I've created, they all came when I was trying to do something else on the TradeStation platform. When I realized the TradeStation platform was using a different formula to calculate one of the main things that I calculate, its formula was different than the TradingView platform. So I took their formula and I brought it over here and I applied it to all the things on the TradingView platform. And then I changed it and I added my own magic sauce to it, and then I found some other things that were really interesting. And so every time I do that, it's like I have to start over again. So I mean, this is what I was looking at last night. I had everything working really well. And I got off the plane at like 8 o'clock last night. I got home a little after 9, and then I couldn't sleep because I had all these things in my head that I was trying to figure out on the plane. And I ended up with this. This is what I was working on at the very end of the night. So when you have this divergence, when it goes up like this, and you have this much divergence, as this is down here, especially if this is down here and going in the other direction, then you sell the open of the next bar. Wayne said he still uses all the other things too. TV trades with the buy and sell signals and the sniper. You know, some of you guys have said that the sniper is the best tool that you've used out of all the things that I've used, but then you haven't used everything that I've created recently because I'm not finished with it yet. And I mean, they're all good. It's just every time it's like an affliction. You know, I look at things and I want to make them better. I want to make things work better for everyone all the time, again and again and again. Alright, so it's 3:21. We're about to get into the period where I really want to start trading. So what do you really want to trade? What would you guys like to see me trade today? You want to do just the swing trades? You want to do the swing trades and the scalpers? You want to do the swing trades and the scalpers and the new thing? Here's a new thing right here. Thing right there. That's the NQ, right? No. I feel like I already missed it. I did. It would have been from right here. It would have been from right there. See, here's another one. Ding. I just got a message. That. Anyway. Okay, over here on gold. We just got a swing trade short with a scalp going long. So what do? I don't recommend you do them both at the same time. Or it was actually a B-Rev. I don't recommend, if you're doing swing trades, do swing trades. If you're going to do something else shorter term, then do something else shorter term. But if you're going to do the swing trades, I recommend just doing the swing trades. Okay. Now the swing trades is on a 9 range, so the swing trades has a 15 tick stop with a 25 tick target. Remember just a few minutes ago I said when you get a swing trade, and this is what I had said to who had asked me that earlier. Was it you, Kevin? Or Kurt? I don't know. One of you guys had asked me about selling right at the open. I don't recommend selling right at the open. Wait till it pulls back. I waited till that pulled back a little bit in here, and I sold it right up there. 92.3. I think my stop's at break even. Yeah, it is. I'm going to lock in just a couple of ticks on this. That's $200 with the gold right now. 10 contracts on. That's $200. Where should it go? It should go down here to 89.6. Look at that. My target's down there at 89.8. Gonna lock in 5. That's $500 right there. Okay. So I said that earlier. Now right over here on the NQ. Wait till it pulls back a little bit. And grab it on a pullback. Okay, now it didn't pull back very far. But using the swing trade thing right there. Here. I just got it and it moved me to 1 tick. It moved me to 1 tick and then took me out. Now, remember what I said before, if you can do the swing trade, do the swing trade. What did I get on the gold? Did I get 5 ticks? I think I got 5 ticks on that. Right. Hang on, let me go back down to the bottom here. Swing trades. Mark. You said, oh, the thing that you want me to do is swing trades. Okay. Well, I just did another one over here, and let me go see what my fills were on that gold. Filled GCE filled 92.3 and 91.8, so 5 ticks is what I got. So let's go put that in here. Oops, that was gold. 5 ticks. There. Okay, so we're now up to $4,250 in this session. And I gotta put the number of trades in too. You know, I had what, 3 trades, right? 3 trades. And 0 stop-outs. Copy. Paste. Alright, that's where we stand so far. Is that right? Do we have just 3 trades? I got a break even in there too, didn't I? I did get a break even, so we have 4 trades now, I think. 4 trades and 0 stop-outs so far. And this should be 11.6. So next week it'll be on Wednesday again. Okay, God willing, nobody else passes away and I don't have another funeral to go to. Seems to be the only time I see my family lately. Alright, I have too many things going on in here. Let me get in here and shut off that one. Okay. Alright. So, questions? Anybody? See right here? If the background were red, then we would have been selling right there. Again, if the background were red, we would have been selling right here. That was the idea. I know it's not intuitive now. It's, most of you guys that have been in here and been trading for a while, you don't see the up-down that way. I don't know, every now and then I try to do something that's just short of why I'm on the 10 range using a swing trade. Good, excellent. I don't have it turned on in there, but there you go. Good. This is the NQ over here. And what do I have going on right now? Alright, let's go back to just putting on the swing trades. Okay. I'll put the swing trade on this one. And the swing trade is pretty easy to do with this kind of thing. And let me shut off the other arrows in there. So remember, the swing trade is not something that you can use alongside scalping tools. Because the swing trade is going to try to get you in at the end of a trend, where the scalping tool is going to try to get you in the middle or at the beginning of the trend. Okay. Did I shut it off on there too? I did, didn't I? Go in here and shut off that one. Alright. So, you know, there was another thing that I was looking at last night. If you have a red background, anytime the blue pulls back like this, above that, when you don't have any other color in there, anytime the blue pulls back, like right there, you would have just shorted the open of that bar. You would have shorted the open of that bar. Kurt, take one of your other DOMs. Take a DOM like this one right here. Okay, and go to, hang on. Just set that up for you. Here you go. Take a chart like this one. Take a DOM like this. Go to chart and duplicate chart. And what that's going to do is make an exact copy of it, like that. Then go to window, go to chart and chart settings, like that. And then go in here in your symbol and change your symbol. Okay. And then once you do that, you'll have to go and change your bracket around and stuff. Your brackets will still be in there. But that's how you do it. Okay. Alright. Now, the market has just moved significantly here. They've been getting hit pretty bad here the last few days. I haven't really been paying attention, but if you look in here, on the daily, we want to get up. This was below yesterday. We want to end well above here today. If I go out one more, nope, that's not it. Maybe one more. Nope, that's not it. Maybe one more. Well, that's kind of it. Oh, the guy's getting crushed. Okay. So we're back in here. Now, the NQ's bouncing around really fast right now. I don't know why, but it's suggesting on an up close right now. There it is. On an up close, it's going to have a black arrow for a swing trade. Here it is. I'm in it. It's going to go 10 ticks in a profit to bump that stop to break even. It's going to break to break even. It's going to bump to break even plus a tick too, or it's going to stop me out. Minus 25. And there it was. Minus 25 ticks. So that's our first stop out today. Let me put that in. Oops. This is there. Okay, so we've got 5 trades with 1 stop out so far today. Let's see, did I answer all the questions so far? Range trigger, now there's a lot of red. Yeah, Jeff. Let me add one on for you. I thought I'd... You sure you got the latest version on there? Because I thought I had taken that off. But inside here, if you go here and undo the div area, you have your div area turned on. If you undo that, then all that red will go away. Okay. Wow. The NQ is getting killed right now. Alright. Let's not focus on the NQ right now. I really don't want to. It's bouncing all over the place. So, over here on the ES right now, and up close is going to turn into a black arrow right now. And the ES is on a 19 range, so it's going to be 5 points above the low of the bar, 63.75 to 68.75. So this is one way to do it. You put a buy stop limit order on. Oops. Put a buy stop limit order on like that. And, well, I think it just filled me. Okay. And put a buy stop limit order like that. Or you can wait until it pulls back and get it on the pullback. Alright. Now, I screwed this up somehow. Yes, I have multiple orders on. So, let me get rid of one of those. I don't know how to do this exactly. If I cancel that one. Cancel that one. There we go. I'm not sure. I'm going to move my stop to break even automatically here. Not automatically. Manually. Okay, there. Now I'm in. Now it's right. Now it's right. Okay, so I have one trade on the ES. And I feel like I screwed this thing all up. But after it goes 10 ticks into profit, my stop should go to break even. My entry point should have been here at 69. I'm in at 68.50, so that's good. The stop should have gone to break even from 68.50 at 70. Now it's 71. Should go to break even. So hopefully I got this right, and it's going to go to break even when it goes up one more tick here. There it is. Okay, good. I'm going to lock bucks, and I screwed that trade up. You see the target's not in the right place either. 2 points. 3 points. I'm going to move this up because I'm not even sure that's a target. Wasn't a target. Cancel all of that. Alright, so 4 more points on the yes. That was this black arrow right here. And we'll stick that in here. Alright, a down arrow here on the YM will be a short. Down arrow on the YM, and this is a 9 range. So it's 10 ticks off the top of the bar. Right? The high is 71s, we selling 61. Right there. 61 is what you need to short. And I didn't get filled. I'm not in this one. Alright, over here on the gold. Again, you're not going to go with the same color as the background there, but over here on the gold, you need it down close on that guy. And we have 25 minutes left in here. So the high of this, looking for a down close right there. There it is. There's your black arrow for the swing trade on down close. I missed that one over here. I got a little bit on that one. I'm in the gold right now. I don't have a very good entry on that, but here it is. Now that should go to break even after 5 ticks in profit. What did I just do? Did I bump it to break even? I did, I think. Yeah, I did. Why can't I move it? I messed that up. I don't know what I just did right there, but I messed it up somehow. That's 5 ticks. And amount was 7. And amount was 7. I screwed 2 trades in a row up. Huh. Alright, well that was a swing trade right there. 7 more gold. Let me find that in here. Okay, and that's nothing. Did I do that? Yes, I did just. I did do something on. No, this is the yes. The YM. Did I do anything on the YM? I think I missed the YM, didn't I? When it goes like that, best to stay out of it. What goes down like that? $50. That's the equivalent of having a $500 target on a regular ES, Kevin. So a $10 target would be reasonable. 25. I mean, if you can achieve 25 bucks on the micros every day, then you're killing it. That's awesome. Okay, over here on the YM, we need an up close. Up close. It's got a low here of 132. So from 132, you could put a buy stop limit 10 ticks above, like that, at 142. Right? So, Jessica. The simplest trade we have is this right here, the swing trade. You get the gray arrow telling you what to expect, and then if you get it, you have your order ready, they're ready to go. But if you don't get it, there it is, we're just going to enter right here. Okay. you can have your order ready to go, but you're looking for an up close. The up close of the next bar, when you have a gray arrow that's pointing up, the up close of the next bar should be your trigger. Now 132 was the exact spot to get in. I'm in at 134. Now this is the pullback stuff that I was talking about earlier. If you wait for the pullback, you get better entry. I just jumped in on that one. Did 30 this afternoon? That's great, Kevin. But think about that. That's 300 if you had a regular size contract. 300 with one? That's pretty awesome. If you can do that every day. You know, like I was saying earlier, my goal is $100 a contract with one contract. That's pretty easy to obtain. Okay, this stop should have gone to break even automatically. It did. I'm just going to lock in 2 on that. Okay, so Jessica, this is one right here that could probably trim out. Now it should make it all the way up here to 47,200. Alright, just got a little bit of profit out of that. I think it's 5 ticks. I keep going to write it down on my sheet. But I forgot that with this, I enter it in manually every time I get one. So we're up to $5,950 in this session with 10 contracts on, or $595 with one contract on, or $59.50 with one micro. And those are good results. You know, for any of you guys that are in here right now, if you only traded this last half an hour every week on Wednesdays from 3:30 to 4 with me, you'd probably do pretty well. And going all the way back to the beginning, Kevin, when you asked, and I said, you know, if you want to trade a certain time period every day, if you were to trade this one time period every day, but if you just want to do it every week with me, and you're able to get most of these same trades. Now, there's some that happened in here that I missed. Like I think this YM right here, I missed that one. I missed that one. I missed that gold. CS. So right now, we don't have any gray arrows anywhere coming up. So we don't have any trades setting up right at the moment. Yeah, you got to make a goal that you can easily achieve every day, Kevin. It's got to be achievable. If you set it out too far and you can't achieve it, then that's going to kill you, your confidence level. You're going to be saying, I can never get this. And you know what? You might have a hard time getting it. Make it something that you can do. You don't have to hit home runs all the time. Base hits work pretty well too. You hit enough of them. Good Joe. Joseph said he's been pretty much doing just that, catching the meetings with me before he has to go to work. And he's been doing well except for the slippage. And today I got a bunch of slippage too. I mean, if you look at the gold right now, even on that last trade, there's 2 ticks to slip right there in the gold. Right there. This is spread. So you're going to lose at least 2 ticks as soon as you enter the trade. Alright, on the gold right now, you have a gray arrow pointing up, so you need an up close on this. This is one Jessica right now. Below this is 90.4, so it'd be 91.4 is what we'd be buying. Now again, with the swing trade, you can let it close up and then pull back a little bit usually. But just to show you that you can be proactive in putting a buy stop limit order 1 tick above where this bar is going to close. The bar is going to close right here at 91.3. And you know that ahead of time because these are range bars, and I know how big every single bar is going to be. So if I know what the bottom is, I know what the top's going to be. Right? Oh man, I can't believe I did that. I thought I had just fixed that. And I will find that. Here it is. Let's put that window on top. There it is. this, and we just triggered in. On the up close, we triggered in. Now after 5 ticks in profit, the stop should automatically go to break even. Mark. Philip. Hang on. And let me just see. Okay, so that did just bump to break even. Let me just lock in 1 tick so I have something out of this. Okay. Two ticks. That's it. Alright, with 2 ticks. $200. And that is on the gold. I have to write it there. I'm writing it in the wrong place. 2 more. Gold. Okay. Philip, you said, is there a reason I'm just doing, I asked people what they wanted to do in a swing trade was what they said. But I did show the other stuff. You know, like right here, this says to sell it. Right here. That's what it was saying. Sell it. And that would have been the top of that bar right there. That would have been selling. This says to buy it right now. What is that, the YM? This says to buy it at the open of that bar. That's what it's saying. This over here, did I do that one? That's the one I just did, right? A minute ago. And I got a little bit of profit on. Or was it the one before it? I think it was the one before it. That one. And I'm willing to trade anything and everything that you guys want me to trade if you want to see me use things. They're all good tools. Man, I am so tired all of a sudden. I don't know why. Alright. So going all the way back up. Kurt, you didn't get any of those messages that are popping out right now, did you? Because there are like 3 or 4 of them that just popped out on the swing trade thing. And up close over here on the ES right now is going to be a long trade. And up close over here on the YM will be a long trade. Why? Because the arrow, the gray arrow, is pointing up. Same thing here right now on the YM. Now I'm not putting a buy stop in the mid order on because I'm going to let it close and then I'm going to get it on a pullback because they're both in downtrends right now. So we want, you know, the swing trade, the idea behind the swing trade, you see how it just didn't print a gray arrow right there? So give up on that one. Nope, there it is. I guess it did it anyway. The idea behind the swing trade is to find the end of the trend. So right here, I want it to pull back a little bit and give me a shot at it before it goes, there it is, before it goes too far into profit, where I would have moved my stop to break even, or where my stop would have moved by itself. Okay, on the YM. So there's a little bit of a pullback on it, and well, here, it just moved my stop to break even. And it just took me out of break even. Okay. Over here on the ES though, we just need the up close. Bring that thing back up. This goes to 9. Still need the up close over here. I didn't see this happen. So the reason I'm doing swing trades in here, just to reiterate, is because I asked what you guys wanted to see me do. And swing trades is what the majority said. So right now, this is not a trade here. Right. A few minutes ago, right here where that pulled up by itself, you could have sold the open of that bar right there. And then when it came back down here by itself, you could have bought the open of that bar right there. And right now, it is suggesting that you buy it right here. Okay, right there is where I'm suggesting you buy it. Still waiting on the CS to give us the up close. Now it's going to be 5 points off the bottom of the bar. Alright, the bottom of the bar here is at 50.75, so it's going to be at 55.75. I'm sorry, 75. Did I say that right? It's the ES, right? Yeah. I did say that right. 55.75 is where it's going to be, I think. Yeah, 55.75. So you could be proactive and put an order on ahead of time because you know the bar is going to close, or you could wait till it closes and then get in on a pullback. Right? This is suggesting it's going to go up right here on the YM. Is this in the same place over here? The low of this is at 50.50, so now you're looking at 55.50 on the up close, if you want to grab it ahead of time. Alright, does anybody have any questions? Anybody in here not know how to take the trial? The trial, I think that's on this thing too. I think it's in here. You can go to tvtrades.com, sign up for the trial there. Click on any one of these things. This is really old. It is the YM1 exclamation point. This was the H contract. Wow, it's almost a year old now. We're almost back to the H contract of next year. Click on any one of those orange things, gets you down to the bottom. It's $25 a week, or $90 a month, or $97 a year after the three-day trial. This is the cheapest. Then this one. Then this one. It's actually, this is 30.7% cheaper than that. It's not just a little bit cheaper. Oops. This guy. So where are we at right now? 61.50. That's pretty good. Need the up close here on the ES. It's getting there. The low on this is now 50.50, so 55.50 is what you're looking at. This over here is the swing trade short on the YM. Now it's pulled back a little bit. You can short it right here on the pullback. I just did. On the pullback, I shorted it right there. Okay. I know it's going opposite that blue arrow, but that blue arrow is not what we're trading right now. Okay. There. And it just stopped me out. So on the 9 range I have a 15 tick stop, so we just stopped out 15 ticks on that guy. Let me put that in. Minus 10 on the YM. It's 10 of those, 2 of those. Back to 80%. Alright. This way, I gotta put the red arrow on there. Alright. And the ES. Just got the swing trade. Now that needs to go. That should have been entered in there at 55 and a quarter, and give me some slippage. Looks like. All right, Kevin. We'll see. Alright, the YM is starting to move up a little bit. Let's see what this is. I see anything and I just lost my ES down. Get that back up. It's 3:54. So usually here in the last 5 or 6 minutes we have some decent trade setups. Right now we're just doing the swing trades. So this is the yes one right now. That's almost going to stop me out. A10 with a full stop out on the yes. That's a big loss, but it is what it is. Alright, here's one on the YM with a little bit of a pullback right here. So you can jump on it right now if you want on the YM. Swing trade with a pullback. Okay. Wow, that was a deep pullback. Just noticed how deep that was. Now, once it gets up to 52, the stop should go to break even automatically. Assuming it gets up to 52. We just went to break even. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, 5. And we're out with 5 on the YM. It's gonna stop me out, I think. I should hurry up so we get some more trades. There. Okay, that finally did. That was a big stop out. Oops. Alright. Well, we don't have anything here right now. Okay, over here on gold now, and up close over there, be a long trade. Probably. Oops, sorry, my mic was off. I just noticed the YM one right there. Sorry about that. What was I doing? Okay, so I ended up with a break even on the gold. I waited for the pullback on that. The YM had a short right here and a short right here. I didn't do either one of those. I'm just noticing that it had that. The gold has another short right here. Okay. I just jumped on that one. And nothing over there on this one tick on the gold. Two ticks on the gold. Nothing over here right now. And we're out with two more on the gold. The YM right here with another short going on. Not sure if my stop hasn't gone to break even yet on that. Seemed like it probably should have gone to break even already, but it didn't. No, I guess it shouldn't have yet. It's gonna go 5 ticks into profit to go to break even. There it goes. Okay, 1. Trades, that's a lot of trades. We got 22 a while back. 15 now. Seems like a lot of trades. If you get two signals close together in the same direction, the first stopped out, do you take the next one? Well, I mean, you can. We had 3 of them right here that now stopped out, and it's not really showing strength on the downside. You know, we really need to push down below this level here to show that we are actually changing direction. Yeah, I mean, you can take them all. I'm running out of time, that's why I was taking. Oh crap! I didn't even realize I was out of time. It's 4:04. Wow. Okay. Well, let me wrap it up. Crap! I didn't even realize that. Okay, Richard. We'll talk to you later. Sorry guys, I totally didn't realize that I ran out of time. Here I was just trading away. Alright, so we're going to end today with a pretty low number, 2,775. We were up over 6,000 at one point. We're at 80% of our trades today. 15 trades and 3 of them stopped out. So 80% of our trades were break even or better. We did take a total of 15 trades. So $2,775. Not exactly a banner day, but it was positive. We didn't quite meet the average. We brought the average down a little bit today. That's okay. It's still a great average for the Wednesdays. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on any one of the orange buttons. It'll get you down to the bottom of the page. And down here, just sign up for one of these and we'll get your free trial going. Alright? You're going to have to give me your TradingView login ID. If you don't have a TradingView login ID, well, you'll have to get one. There's instructions for that too. All right. I'm gonna work on this tool. Hopefully, I'll have more of it done by next week. It's just a short amount of time until next week right now, but hopefully, I'll have more of it done, and we'll be able to use that solely next week, possibly. Just look into the things that have happened in this session, that I discussed with that. You would have had a short trade right there at the open of that bar. You would have had a short trade at the open of that bar. That would have, depending on what your stop was, it may or may not have worked out. You would have had a long trade at the open of that bar. You would have had a long trade at the open of that bar. You would have had a long trade at the open of that bar. You would have had, I'm really looking for it to be going pretty much in the right direction. A long trade at the open of that bar. Long trade at the open of that bar and that bar. A short trade at the open of that bar. A short trade at the open of that bar. So it works out pretty well using that theory. The other theory, this is what using the other theory, get rid of that, you put that on, and put that on. You would have sold or bought depending which theory you're doing. You would have sold the open of that bar. You would have bought the open of that bar. This bar right here. And that's it. Using that theory. Anyway, good stuff. I wish it would have made a little bit more today. We ended up, at one point we were over $6,000 a contract. Then we stopped out a few times. It happens. If you haven't taken the free trial, take the free trial. All right, we'll get you going today. If you go take the free trial today, we'll get you going today. I do not have this ready to distribute yet. I'm still working on it, so it's not ready to go yet. All right. All right. Let me shut off the recording here.